Okay guys, so what I'm here to talk about is why the Philadelphia Eagles aren't going to make a playoff in 2014. And the main reason why I say this is because even though the Philadelphia Eagles went 10-6 and won the NFC East, the Philadelphia Eagles as a team last year were terrible on both sides of the ball. The Eagles were 31st in total offense, 29th in rushing, averaging 80 yards per game, and 30th in passing, averaging 176 yards per game. And what made the Philadelphia Eagles offense work last year was Deshaun Jackson, who they released, because opposing secondaries oftentimes put a cornerback and a safety over the top just in case he blew by the cornerback with his speed so the cornerback could have help. That meant that on the other side, Riley Cooper had oftentimes single coverage and was able to beat his defender off the line of scrimmage. That's why Riley Cooper last year had his best year. Riley Cooper last year as the number 2 wide receiver had 47 catches for 835 yards and 8 touchdowns. Now that they don't have Deshaun Jackson, teams may do one of two things depending on who they're facing. They may stack the box and try to prevent LeSean McCoy from getting a running game started and let the secondary handle the wide receiving group led by Riley Cooper. Or they could let LeSean McCoy run free and focus on locking down everything else. LeSean McCoy last year on 314 carries had 1,607 rushing yards and 9 touchdowns as on the ground. Now, via the air, LeSean McCoy had 52 receptions for 539 yards and 2 touchdowns. Now, what I ultimately think opposing defenses are going to do is lock down LeSean McCoy by putting 8 in the box and letting the opposing secondary handle the very weak Eagles wide receiving core. And I think Nick Foles and the rest of the Eagles offense are gonna run into a lot of problems. Now, Nick Foles last year became the starting quarterback in week 4 after Michael Vick went down with an injury. Nick Foles had a completion percentage of 64%. He grew for 2,891 yards with 27 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. And like I said, him and Riley Cooper had good chemistry last year. Riley Cooper oftentimes had single coverage because, like I keep repeating in this video, Deshaun Jackson had a cornerback and a safety over the top, so that allowed the rest of the Eagles wide receivers to have mostly single coverage. So him and Riley Cooper oftentimes hooked up over the top, and they were successful at it because there was nobody over the top to help the opposing cornerback. Now with Deshaun Jackson gone, I feel like that element is taken away. Now the opposing defense can spread their focus among the whole wide receiving core. And I think he's gonna run into a lot of problems. He might force a lot of balls to Riley Cooper, and they might get picked up just simply because he doesn't have single coverage at this point. I feel like Nick Foles is gonna have a good year, but not as good as he did last year. I feel like Nick Foles is probably gonna go for 3,500 yards, about 27 to 30 touchdowns, but he's gonna have anywhere between 14 to 16 interceptions, just basically because Riley Cooper won't be single covered anymore, and he's gonna throw some balls into tight windows that he shouldn't be going. Now let's move to the defense. Now the Eagles defense last year was 28th in total defense. They were 30th in rushing, allowing 185 yards per game, and 25th in passing, allowing 249 yards per game. Now, I see this defense basically the same. I see this defense like a bang but don't break defense. They're gonna allow yards because their defensive line doesn't apply any pressure at all. The pressure is going to have to come from the linebackers. Now, their defensive line is composed of Cedric Gordon, Benny Logan, and Fletcher Cox. Now, Cedric Gordon last year had 60 tackles and 1 sack. I see more of the same. He's gonna tackle, but they're gonna allow the running back to get his yardage before he tackles. I see it like that for the rest of the defensive line because the defensive line last year only had 6 sacks as a whole, and that means that they won't apply any pressure. They'll bend but not break. Now, the pressure is gonna have to come from the 4 linebackers, which I think is the best part of the Philadelphia Eagles defense. If you look at, they have Connor Barwin, who had 59 tackles and 5 sacks. He is a guy who can come off the left side edge and provide some pressure on the quarterback, while at the same time, if you need him to, he's an adequate pass defender. Not good, but he's okay. They also got D'Amico Ryans, who's a tackling machine. He had 127 tackles, but with 4 sacks and 2 interceptions. What I'm basically saying is I expect the opposing offense to get past the initial layer of the defense, but once they get to the linebacking core, they'll have some trouble. So I expect the opposing offense to get 3 or 4 yards before they get to the linebacking core. Now, the last piece of a very good linebacking core is Trenton Cole, who led the team in sacks with 8. He could come from the right side and apply pressure as well. So I expect the pressure to come from the outside linebackers. Now, of course, that leaves you a little bit open in the middle part of the field, but you're gonna have to develop to apply pressure. Now the last part of the defense I'm gonna talk about is the Philadelphia Eagles secondary. Now like the defensive line, they have a bend but don't break aspect. They know how to tackle, but they don't necessarily go after the ball. So I think they'll give up the initial catch, but they won't let the wide receiver go past and get the yard after the catch. The left corner is Bradley Fletcher, who last year had 70 tackles and 2 interceptions. So, like I said, he's gonna give up the initial catch, but then tackle. And on the right side is Corey Williams, who can also tackle. He had 67 tackles, but only 3 interceptions. This is not a ball hunting defense. This is a tackling, hard hitting defense who will give up the initial catch. But ultimately, to sum this up, I think the Eagles will go 8-8 or 9-7, but that won't be enough to win the division, and I think that won't be enough to win the wild card either. I see the Redskins winning the division, and I'll talk about this later on, maybe this week or next month. I don't know yet. That's it for right now, guys. Peace.